Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Java Lounge. It is your host Marcus here with you today. Louis is not with us. He is out doing and living his best life right now. It is literally Christmas Eve. I am here with my good man Ryan James as he goes by to social media platforms. What's up, Ryan? How are you today?
Yeah, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Ryan James. I'm doing well, man. How you doing?
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm doing really, really good, man. I'm really happy to have you here and appreciate you coming on the my little budget podcast, to talk about your life and everything. So pretty much before we get into the questions on interviewing Ryan and stuff and hearing his story and his testimony and things like that, where life has taken him. Hold on, I'm sorry guys, if you're not watching the video right now, I clicked something on my screen, so that's why I got distracted. But anyways, before we get into it in the interview, I just wanted to catch you guys up on some couple of things that I thought that was pretty cool this week that just happened. So when it comes to entertainment, the new Matrix Resurrection movie literally what came out yesterday or something like that. I don't know if you've seen it, Ryan. Have you already watched the Resurrections movie? It's out in theaters as well as it's out on HBO Max.
Man, I couldn't even tell you the last time I seen a movie at a movie theater. Even prior to COVID, that wasn't really a thing for me. I do like going to drive-ins, but like an actual theater, not so much. But answer your question, now I haven't seen it. I didn't know it was on HBO Max either, though. So good to know.
Yeah, check it out. I actually personally have watched it. I didn't finish it though. I started watching it last night. The film is a cool like 2.5 hours. And how did you watch all the other Netflix? I think it was what, like 3 films before this one. Have you seen any of them?
For the Matrix?
Yeah, there's Matrix, Matrix Reloaded, and then another Matrix, like the final one they came out with like in like 2000 or something like that.
Man, I just remember being a kid and watching Matrix when it first came out, and the scene, and I was like, "Yo, titties, booty,
I love that.
booty,
ass and titties everywhere, mom."
Lord, it's a fuck day, but no.
I'm glad I did take a sip. I'm so glad. I'm drinking tea right now because my throat's busted right now. I'm not sick. I run my mouth too much.
COVID.
It's the Omarion. Just kidding. It's really not. It's really not. I promise.
Yeah, we got little mama. We
right?
got the mama.
The mama variant. But yeah, so the reason why though, if anybody didn't know about the Matrix Resurrection, it has a lot of, well, it has a couple of like the old characters from the earlier trilogy. Of course, they have what's his homeboy's name? Keanu Reeves playing Neo. They brought back the character Morpheus, but it's not the same actor, but they do still have Jada Pickett and a couple of other people here and there. The reason why I'm bringing up the Matrix as like a topic here on this type of podcast that's meant for trans people or queer people and things like that is because, in my opinion, the Matrix is a trans film. If you haven't seen it, you wouldn't understand what I'm saying. But if you watch the movie and you're trans, that shit hits home. And in addition to that, is what supports my argument really is that the writer and director of The Matrix is literally a trans filmmaker. I think they're a trans woman named Lana Wachowski. I think that's how you say their last name. So if that doesn't provide enough evidence, enough that The Matrix is a trans political film, that's all I need to say. My case is rested, but the movie is actually really good. I feel like they kind of go OD with the Matrix moves, if you know what I'm saying. Like the slow-mo. Like it was a scene.
They're known for their slow-mo action, like dynamics.
Yeah, but they were like OD, like we get it. That's how I felt in the beginning. Cause like there was a scene where they're trying to get away from the agents, right? It was trying to give nostalgia and I felt it. But they were running away from
spoilers. We haven't seen the movie, and you're trying to give a spoiler.
Fine. All I'm saying is that they're OD. There's a part where it's like, did you really need to do all that? But it's like, okay, get your CGI up.
If they're known for their slow-mo dynamic,
I
they
hear
have
it. They gonna slow-mo the fuck out of me.
they die.
But yeah, I never finished the movie. I can't tell you how it ends because I got tired because I'm getting old and I had work. But in other news, besides that, I really thought this was super important to share to the podcast. Apparently, as of Monday, December 20th, Apretude was approved by the FDA for at-risk adults and adolescents weighing in at least 77 pounds for PrEP and to reduce the risk of sexually acquired HIV. I don't know why I can't talk today. I'm so sorry, guys. But yeah, so what's really super cool about Apretude is because it's the first of its kind as a pre-injectable that helps fight off pre-exposure. So I believe all of that I know about this new form of PrEP is pretty much, I think you take it only every 2 months. So that's what makes it super, super cool. And it's called Apretude. If you want to look more into it, I recommend that you look it up just because I will admittedly say with shame that I don't know a lot about PrEP and I should. Do you know a lot about PrEP, Ryan?
You don't know say, I don't know shit. I'll never claim to know shit I don't know about.
I respect it. Yeah, so I'm not that informed about it, but get informed, look more into it. If you do take PrEP, that's the way to go. But yeah, so that's all that I have for current events for everybody. But now that we're getting back into it, focusing on the main topic at hand, which is our guy Ryan. Ryan, so what are some things, before we get into me asking some questions, what are some things that you are comfortable with disclosing with yourself?
I believe you and I were both grown individuals. I'm not sure who's listening or who's watching this, but hello, how's it going? You doing all right? Basically, if you know me, you know it's a free for all. Nothing's off limits. You want to know the nasty, the woohoo? There's no woohoo going on, but we can discuss what it's like if I were to have woohoo.
We you know, speculate.
So everywhere and anywhere and just be chilling. So back to you, Marcus. Don't spit your tea out.
All right. This man is going to have me choke on my tea. We spilling the tea literally tonight. Nah, we're not. Well, we'll see how it goes, right? But yeah.
Sloppy. It's giving sloppy boots.
Right? But yeah, so I brought just a little history between Ryan and I. We personally know each other outside of like the internet and things like that, but we did meet through the internet. We met through Instagram. I was in the early stages of my transition. Do you feel comfortable disclosing any like that part or no? I can edit this out.
Listen, this is a whole free for all.
Perfect. I love it. I love it. I'm just trying to be respectful and mindful.
He was rocking the binder, this little big old fro going on.
I got old pictures of that. Yeah.
Open shirt over it and some way too tight fitting ass jeans. That was Marcus the first time I'm
double cheeked up. Yeah, still double cheeked up.
Whatever day it was. Wednesday,
whatever. It probably was on a hump day. But yeah, so this was probably like 2016, 2017.
Maybe even sooner than that, because you're thinking
maybe was 2015. It's
during that, so like 7 years ago.
Yeah. So I want to say at least 2015.
Yeah.
So yeah, we met in person 2015 at the good old Tyler Mall. At the time,
California, IE gang.
Yeah, out in the IE was when Ryan was moved out here for a bit. And yeah, we were both booed up at the time. So we linked up, and me and Ryan, we didn't stay booed up, but me and Ryan
we kept the fuck in it.
We definitely stayed friends, Ryan and I, ever since we met then. And the rest has been really history. But Ryan has definitely, I was for sure a trans baby in the game. What you saw then is not what you see now, for sure. And with me,
tight ass pants no more.
Yeah, we finally let go of the too tight skinny jeans. I laid them to rest. I finally realized I'm bigger
Uh,
than that.
rest in peace.
Literally. But yeah, so Ryan was, if you guys didn't know already, I was kind of like beating around the bush. Kind of, I'm not going to edit this out anymore, but I was beating around the bush asking if Ryan didn't want to or did want to disclose anything about himself. Ryan and I are both trans men. We are both Black trans men up in this space. And Ryan had been, I don't even know how many years Ryan was medically transitioned on when we met. So, how many years on T were you on when we met?
When we met, I
Mhm.
was about 3 years on T. I started back in 2012.
Nice. So you started back in 2012. Let's go. Let's dive into it with that. So, utilize hormone therapy in 2012. What was life like before utilizing HRT for you?
Shit. We're taking a road trip, y'all. Get on the Magic School Bus. We're going
We're
down
here
to
for it.
skirt, skirt. All right. So the year is 2012. We're in this cold state called Massachusetts. Your boy was a junior in high school. Didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Didn't know how to dress. Didn't know how to do shit. I was useless. Very useless. All right. So I was on the interweb on YouTube, playing my 90s R&B bullshit. And then I see some video suggestions in the side corner. And one of them said FTM transition. And I'm like, the fuck is a FTM transition? Like, what's FTM? Fuck the Matrix? Like, what is this? What is
That's funny
this
you put that in there.
transition?
Mhm.
So I came across Skylark 11's videos.
I remember Skylark 11. Yeah.
Awesome, actually. So he was the first trans guy I really met, like online. I met him in person,
Mhm.
maybe back in 2019 at the trans conference,
Oh,
but neither
yeah.
here nor there. First guy online, and I was like I'm watching his videos. I'm like binging video after video after video because like
Mhm.
certain things he was saying really reconciled in my head, and I'm like, so I'm not alone feeling the way I feel. Like there's people that are like me that are going through the same shit. And like, look at him now. Like he was just like me, like a confused individual that was born in a female's body or a woman's
Mhm.
body, for lack of words,
Mhm.
that felt very uncomfortable. That felt very like a stranger in the mirror. And so after doing research on the side, I found like a therapist. Turns out you needed a gender therapist. This bitch sucks. She pretty much told me that I would never find love due to me being trans.
That's awful.
This bitch weighed like 400 pounds, so I cussed her the fuck out and I gave her Jenny Craig's number. But that's neither here. I'm a gender therapist in Boston at the Sidney Borum Center. And so it was cool. Like after like I want to see the first session, I was
Mhm.
diagnosed with gender identity disorder. And
Mhm.
then I think my third session I got approved for hormone therapy,
Mhm.
but it was kind of an issue because I was only 17 at the time.
Yeah.
So if you're under 18, you need like adult consent in order to start the hormone process. And so when I told my mom, I'm like, hey mom, like they approved me for hormone therapy. Like I need you to
Mhm.
sign this. Her and my dad were put on the same page saying like, oh, like it's not that we don't support you or that we're against it, but we think it'd be for the better if you wait until after high school. And to me, this is like May of my junior year. And I'm like, that's a whole other year of waiting.
I
I
hear
spent
you.
my whole life pretty much wondering why I felt so different and
Mhm.
wondering why when puberty hit my body that like I
Mhm.
was growing a chest and I was
Mhm.
having Niagara Falls in the southern region. And
Mhm.
like none of it just made any sense to me. And so, long story short, it came down to it. I'm like, hey, I understand that you're just concerned about my well being, but I'm telling you right now, like, if you don't sign this paper, I will hurt myself. I will commit suicide.
Mhm.
And looking back, that probably wasn't the right way to go about it. But I want to make my point clear that, like,
Mhm.
it's either going to accept my transition and let me transition, or you're
Mhm.
going to lose me altogether. And so on May
Mhm.
8th, 2012, I started hormone therapy.
Ooh, and the rest was history. And we're going to get into a little bit of that history and that specific aspect of Ryan's life. I just want for any user that's not trans, just for everyone's information, including yours, Ryan, our main demographic is around our age group. It's between 25 up to like 30 years old right now. And it's primarily male viewers, and we have a good like 20% of female viewers.
So
But
there's no sugar mamas listening right now.
sugar
You're
mama,
telling
there's probably sugar daddies though.
me for my sugar mama
No,
right now.
yeah, we're looking for sugar mommies. Ryan and I are very single.
Shit,
So
I'll even take a sugar daddy if I don't have to touch your ass.
right, I'll read you a book.
Shit, I'll write you a
I'll-
rose are red, violets are blue. I like money. How about you?
Pay me now. Cash at me right now. But yeah, so thank you so much for giving us that like brief background and letting us know about, you know, you pretty much had no choice at that time but to come out to your family in a sense,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And so I know that you mentioned in the beginning, you know, they weren't on board. And since the time that and period that I've known you, I met you at a point where it outside looking in, it seems like your mom is very supportive of you now. So I would like to get more into like how did your relationship, if you want to get into speaking with like about your whole family, we can, but just how did your relationship evolve specifically with your mother, to where she went from, you know, I really think you should take a pause on this and really think about it, to, you know, she's like right by your bedside at surgery.
All right. So first things first, my mom was never against it. She never
Mm-hmm.
really like kind of questioned like
Mm-hmm.
if it was something that she was okay with me doing.
Mm-hmm.
It was more like the fact like she never heard about it. She didn't know what it was. She didn't know what it
Safety.
entailed. She didn't know like if I was putting my life in danger,
Mm-hmm.
wanted to. So she was more concerned about my well-being. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't her questioning my choice. It's just kind of like, okay, like you're 17, like you're still young, like are
Mm-hmm.
you sure what you want in life?
Mm-hmm.
And so me and my mom have always been close.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like my transition brought us closer at one point in time because I mean, I went through surgeries and sadly for my mother, never had a solid partner. So it was
Mm-hmm.
like, Mom, I need you to wipe my ass. Mom, you gonna wash
Yeah.
me up? It's ready for my sponge bath. Like, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
So like my
Mm-hmm.
mom's been incredible. She's been real phenomenal. Those who've met my mom, whether it's in person or through FaceTime in the community, they all love my mom. My mom's a very loving individual. She's very judgment free, very lovable. And basically, like, my mom's just always like there for anyone, whether they need anything, whether they just want someone to talk to and so forth. But I look at my mom as like my best friend, like my biggest inspiration. Like I feel like my loving, nurturing side stems from my
Mm-hmm.
mom. Mom's very affectionate, very caring. And I feel like me growing up in a very loving environment with my mom, my dad, not so much, with my mom primarily,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of grew on me. And so now,
Yeah.
like, when I am seeing someone, my once in every 6 months fling, I'm very like, nurturing, I'm very caring, I'm very
Yeah.
attentive. Is that the
Mm-hmm.
word?
Yeah.
To like, their needs and wants and so forth. But as far as outside family goes, it's not that no one doesn't accept me. I just
Mm-hmm.
feel like the family is just disconnected over the years because people passing away or people don't stay in contact. So it's kind of like there's no one that really gives me a hard time for it. But I just
Mm-hmm.
feel like my family is just non-existent because no one talks.
I hear
So
that. No, I definitely can relate to that on my part too. Definitely, I don't really have a connection with my biological father side of the family. I
mhm,
talked to my brother on that side, but I lost contact with my biological father the day that I told him I was going to start transitioning. So it's probably been like 6 years now. And then when it comes to my mother's side of the family, extended wise, we're just not that connected like that. Like we'll hit each other up every now and then, or we'll see each other. It's sad, but we really mainly see each other often at funerals, which is
right.
it's really,
Yeah.
really unfortunate. So yeah, definitely can resonate with that. But so thank you again for sharing that.
Of course not.
And leading into it, so now we started T. This is I'm trying to gauge it. So we started T. I don't know if you can like recall back in your mindset
You
and
want to
how.
got you on a timeline. So we
Mhm,
started hormone therapy in 2012.
mhm,
In December of 2013, I've had top surgery.
mhm,
Um, 2015, it was either December or January. We had the
mhm,
hysterectomy.
mhm,
Um, March of 2020, we had stage 1 phalloplasty. May of 2020, we had stage 2.
mhm.
From that stage, and currently, I probably underwent 4 surgeries. One to fix the complication, and then a few other ones to see what the complication was.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
reminds me, the complication still is not fixed. I have a colostomy due to the complication.
Yeah.
So
And we'll circle back to that. Thank you so much for sharing the timeline too for everyone that's curious about Ryan's surgical journey. I want to bring more focus on like the emotional and mental journey though that everything attributes to. So what I want to ask is, so like say like you just started T, if you could take yourself back to that time then, and I'm talking about like your before top surgery, before any type of surgery, you just injecting shit in your ass or wherever you inject it. And what did you imagine your life to be like now when you were at that time then? Like, what did you think once you like started T? What did you
you mentioned,
imagine?
like, looking back at like when I first started taking testosterone, and that
Mm-hmm.
was back when I was like somewhat active online. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like making videos.
You
We're
were
not
in
gonna
like a YouTube groups and shit like that when it
yeah,
was a thing back then.
not gonna show these very cringy videos, but basically I think when I was 17 and I was looking forward to, this age, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of hard for me to gauge because I feel like at that
Mm-hmm.
point I didn't really have any interest of being alive. And
Valid.
so it was very stressful, like after
Mm-hmm.
high school did, trying to
Mm-hmm.
figure out whether I wanted to go to college, what I wanted to do for work, what I wanted to go to school
Mm-hmm.
for, because I didn't really have any real intention of being alive this long.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking, I'm 27 now, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any intention of being alive past like high school. And so for me to be like, okay, I need to figure out what I want to do, really kind of stressed me the fuck out for a cool minute because I'm like, damn, like I didn't think this far ahead. And even currently now, there's times where I'm like, damn, like I still didn't think this far ahead either. Like, what am I gonna do? But as
Mm-hmm.
far as transition goes, I didn't realize back then how hard it would be today. I thought that like, oh, like I see these trans guys on YouTube or Instagram that have loving partners who've been there since day one, that are there for
Mm-hmm.
their surgeries and their appointments, and I'm gonna have that. And then every
Mm-hmm.
year that passed, it was still me being alone a good 9 out of 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then each year that passed, and then like, like there's like stages of loneliness, like where you feel lonely, then you feel real lonely, then you feel like no one fucking cares about you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was hitting those stages, and then I'd be like, fuck, like, what makes them worthy of having a partner but not me? And I
Mm-hmm.
know now that's not really a healthy way of looking at it, because I feel like the person for you comes whenever they decide to show up,
Yeah.
basically. But in the meantime, like it's hard as humans, like we want to be loved. We want to
Mm-hmm.
love someone. We want to, like care for someone. Pretty much
Mm-hmm.
as when we were babies, our parents or whoever took care of you cared for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like as an adult, like you want to care for someone. You want to know how someone's doing. You want to know how their day went. You want to be there to
Mm-hmm.
support and love them. And I
Mm-hmm.
think with me being such a loving and a big heart, makes it really hard when it comes to dating because like off the fucking grip, we can be talking for a few weeks, but if
Mm-hmm.
I know like your favorite fucking color is purple, if I see purple flowers, I'm buying them.
Yeah.
Or like if I know sushi is your favorite food, I'm looking up best sushi spots wherever the fuck we're at. Like
Yeah.
that's how I am. And so basically, I guess I thought transitioning that like one day I would have the complete body, I would have a serious partner, and that I might not have kids. Maybe my partner would have a kid. Or if we didn't have any kids, we'd have like, like some animals. And we'd have
Yeah,
like a
fur
nice
babies.
size yard. Like a basic like dream, I guess, like to have someone and pretty much just grow old with them was my
I
like
hear you.
initial thought going into this.
I hear you. I most definitely hear you. And I love that you kind of went into it yourself onto like the dating and the love scene and stuff like that. I like to consider myself personally as single throughout my entire transition as well.
Right.
I think I had a girlfriend like the first 6 months, if that, and then I've been single ever since. And pretty much I've known Ryan to date. And he's really been in the game, the dating scene. And
Listen,
I'm not
when
saying it in no weird way. Yeah.
dating scene, I sound like I get around. I want to say
Yeah.
here podcast, my body count, I'm still on 2 hands. Don't
Yeah.
play me.
Yeah.
Don't
That's what I
play me.
mean. Yeah.
Talking stages, but I don't be putting out like that.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I meant.
I'm definitely not putting out like that.
That's exactly what I meant. So let's clarify that for the audience at home.
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you, Ryan. But to clarify for the audiences at home, just because when I say dating or has met up with people and stuff like that, that doesn't automatically mean physically slept together. When I mean dating, I mean, maybe I should use better language, getting to know each other, whatever you want to call that,
Shit.
mingled.
Listen, we're going to
Yeah.
call it what it's wasting my motherfucking time.
Yeah.
Waste my motherfucking
It's
time.
experience. It's all experience.
It's experience.
And I just want to get into, I know some of them I was witness to some very like awful situations that has happened with some women that Ryan has met in his life.
Crap.
But I wanted to get into that. So since your transition, I don't know if you've been out the entire time or I mean, I hate the whole out stealth thing because it's just like when I go to, well, not on my job now, but like when I go to work, I'm stealth, but like everybody else outside knows. But were you stealth your whole time where it's just like nobody knew that it was in vicinity of you unless the people that you were sharing like home with? And how was that experience like if you did live a stealth life at one period of your transition?
I feel like I'm constantly my fault.
You're all right.
All right, my fault. I feel like I'm constantly like in between. Like there's times where I'm completely stealth, like no one knows.
Yeah.
And then trans posts, I'll like archive them so they're not on my actual page.
Yeah.
There's times where I'm like, honestly, I don't give a fuck. I feel like me having to explain I'm trans over and over gets old real quick. So I'm gonna say have it on my page. So like you can't say, well, I didn't see it, because see is what you get. I was born a woman, whoop-de-doo all day. At one point I had a cooch, whoop-de-doo all day. And so I just kind of feel like I'm stealth when it comes to like my jobs, just because like people are fucking weird, and I don't want anyone to treat me differently at work or look at me as like I'm not a man or I'm not respectable as a man. So when it comes to like my jobs, I've primarily been stealth 90% of the time. But when it comes
same.
to like friendships and like my dating life, I would say 60-40.
60-40.
Like 60% dating life, obviously I'll mention trans. And then 40% friendships, I'll mention I'm trans. But I feel like if I have no like dating interest in you, or I don't want to hook up with you, there's no real reason to disclose being trans unless it's going in a sexual or romantic direction. If I just see you working at this fucking cafe I go to on like whatever day I go to get coffee, I'm not like, hey, give me a dark roast and I'm trans. Hey, give me a cold. I agree. Like it's not needed. So people say that, oh, transgender people are like lying to people, they're trying to be like deceiving. It's not even that. I did this for me. All due respect, I could care less people like me because I did this journey for myself, not to be liked by whomever.
Yeah.
Period.
Society approval. Yeah. So I'm glad that, thank you for bringing up the part about disclosure and stuff like that. I'm kind of on the same tip where it's just like, I'm going to live my life as me. Like if it's not needed for me to bring up that I'm trans, I'm not going to bring it up because it's not relevant.
No.
It's just oversharing at that point, you know, in my opinion. And I also agree with Ryan when you brought up like if it's a romantic partner, someone that I do see like they're picking up vibes from me, I'm picking up vibes for them. Okay, this is something we need to have out. But what I want to get into, so let's, for people, a lot of people that I come in contact with as well, same as you, they're normally in a relationship with someone as a trans man, and they always say that they've actually never experienced dating as a trans man. And I always ask people this question because I want to know more. And a lot of trans guys I know personally really invest a lot of conversations in love and relationship. And so I meet a lot of trans men who are in relationships who say that's honestly something that I'm afraid of.
Must be nice.
And I tell them it must be nice to have someone that like known you before and you jumped right into it and locked them, not saying locked in, but you know, you found your person. What was that?
Locked in. If they start lesbians, it's locked in. Shit,
Yeah.
dates. Get the U-Haul, honey. I'm moving in.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. But yeah. So with those couples, and I do meet all of them that say like I would be very afraid to date as a trans man. And I want you to share not anything awful, just like what is like a normal routine like conversation of like, say that you're on a dating app, not
Yo.
on the dating app, it's not like trans man Ryan, but it has all the great qualities and awesome things about you,
Yo.
like every dating app should. So how does that look? What is a day in the life of that? Someone swipes right, you match, what happens next?
Man, I want to put this like as a disclosure, first of all, too.
Yeah.
Dating really depends on where you live. And so I've
Yeah.
lived in several places throughout the years. I'm back in my home state now, Massachusetts. But when I had like a Tinder, well, I still have them. That's not relevant.
Yeah.
I had a Tinder while I lived on the West Coast.
Mhm.
My shit was popping like boom, boom, boom,
Jumping.
boom. You got a new match. You got a new match. You got a new match. Like back to back to back. And I'm like, damn, like I'm just this regular nigga from Massachusetts. Like I'm all these likes and they're messaging me first. What is this witchcraft? What's going on?
Right.
I don't know. I feel like they on the West Coast. I feel like, don't get me wrong. Massachusetts is a liberal state, but it's to an extent. I feel like it's a very gay friendly state, but I feel like they still have a lot of progress to do when it comes to like trans people and trans dating and trans rights and so forth. But basically, it all depends. Like I said, like where you live. I feel like my Tinder out here is dry as fuck. I don't have the I'm trans in my Tinder bio, but the trans flag is there. So if there's someone knowledgeable, that points it out. I'm on Tammy. My Tammy says trans male under the gender thing. Tammy was cool for a while. I think that the app kind of died out. It was really LGBT app, but now it's like a money hungry LGBT app. So like people are still on there, but not as often as they were compared to them wanting to charge every little thing.
Okay.
I just feel like dating nowadays, like I have dating apps, like I have Tinder, I have Tammy, I have Bumble. But honestly, I feel like the best way for myself to like get a date or like to shoot my shot at someone, it's Instagram. I want to say,
That's a common denominator that I've been hearing sliding in IG DMs.
Oh, because I feel like there's several ways you can do it. So my specialty is
get your pen and paper out, kids.
I mean, like it's not like a secret, but like I'll follow a girl on Instagram.
Got it.
And I'll like a few photos. And
just 3?
Yeah, I like a few photos, show some love. If they follow back and like a few of my photos, I go back
You
on their
know.
page. I like a few more photos. And then
Yeah.
if they like some more photos, I'm like,
You
okay,
win.
bet. This is my cue to slide my ass in the DM real quick. But if they
Mm-hmm.
don't like anymore after I like more photos, I'll still message them. I'll say some like slick shit. Or if I see like something on their page, let's say like, I don't know, I follow this girl, let's say like she's fucking, I don't know, Asian, for shits and giggles, Asian.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see like she posted like ramen for whatever reason. And so I'm like, oh, like I see like you stay out here in Boston. I know it's dope ramen spot. I would love to check it out with you if you have time. Like a lot of my messages, it's not even me hitting on the person.
Yeah.
It's me messaging based off something I see on their page. Like, oh, like I see you're into shoes. Like, what's your favorite shoe? Or like, what's your favorite designer? I feel like 90% of the time you'll get a response back in the DM
You
if you're
will.
not being thirsty, if you're not hitting on them like, oh, like damn,
Yeah.
like you're so fine. I need to make you mine. Like
Beautiful heart
people,
eyes don't work, people.
huh?
I said using just beautiful with heart eyes don't, it ain't, you got to do better than that, y'all.
You can use that down the line, but not off the bat. I feel if people acknowledge that like people don't want to be sexualized, they don't want to be objectified.
Mm-hmm.
If you talk to like a regular human being, have regular conversation, they're probably
Mm-hmm.
gonna message you back. Like I've messaged blue check Instagram accounts that have fucking
Yeah.
hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers, and I would say out of 6 times, half of them have messaged me back because I'm not being thirsty. I'm not like, damn, like let me hit that. It's just me like,
Mm-hmm.
oh hey, like I see like you grew up out here, like and you're out in the West Coast now. Like, how do you like the change? Like it's genuine conversation.
Mm-hmm.
When they feel like you're not being thirsty and you're not trying to get anything from them, they're gonna be more interested.
Mm-hmm. No, big facts right there. Thank you for laying down the law for some people who aren't. And it
I'm
may be no, it may not be putting on game for you, but for a lot of people at home, you putting game for them. You'd be
disclaimer too.
surprised.
Another disclaimer:
Yeah.
if you're not trans or you are trans,
Mm-hmm.
but you're into trans men or trans women, please, please, for the love of God, do not slide in the DM saying you don't even look trans. That is not a compliment. I don't want to hear it. I'm well aware I look better than your ex nigga, but I
Thank
still don't
you.
want to hear I don't look
Thank you.
trans. That is
Thank
not
you.
a compliment
Thank you.
at
Thank
all.
you, Ryan. Doing the community's work right there with that statement. He really is.
It's
He
not.
really is. Just know once you hit send with that statement, don't expect a response
Just know,
back. And they probably told the 5
yeah,
trans
no
friends that
response.
they knew.
If I followed you before you sent me that message, I'm unfollowing. I'm not gonna block you. I'm
You're done.
unfollowing.
You're done. You're
You're
done.
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 Next
All right.
call.
Next caller. No, so this kind of gets me into which is a conversation that I love having. Not what a lot of folks kind of get really sensitive about this. Um, it's well, 3 topics, and I'm gonna lump them into one, and they're all not the same. I want to talk about fetishizers, fetish size. Anyways, I'm awful. I botched that. Yep.
Sir.
Channy chasers and T for T relationships. We're going to touch base on all those real fast. So I want to say, how do you feel? Okay, so when you hear the words fetishizer and tranny chaser, what comes to mind when you hear those 2 words?
Training chaser, Ryan James. You know Ryan
Hey.
James? Chaser. Training chaser. That Ryan James, training chaser. He never fucked a training, but he's a training chaser. All right, no. But all jokes aside, when I hear train chaser or like someone that fetishizes trans people, I picture someone that just wants a trans person for sex. That's it. I don't look at them as someone that has genuine interest as them as a person. They view the objects for fucking.
And
And so, go ahead.
No, keep finish what you're gonna say.
No, so for me personally, when I first got called a train chaser, I don't know, this is years back. I was kind of offended because I was like, damn, like my only interest as to why I date trans women is because of the fact that I think it's cool that we can both bond like spiritually and mentally with the fact that we were both transitioning to become my true selves, and I want to be the one, whether they need to have like an appointment or a surgery, or they just need the reassurance that like, despite how people may look at trans people, that like we are okay, we're not going anywhere, and that our lives matter, and we deserve love and respect. And so me dating T for T was never for a sexual thing, because not to mention the first few years I was doing T for T, I was very uncomfortable in my body. And then at that point also, like, I didn't have much experience with like women at all, never mind trans women. So like I was just barely learning how to like, you know, like make out and shit like that. So like for me to be called a chaser, and I was like, damn, like I have no mileage to my fucking tank to be called a chaser. Like, have I talked to a lot of trans women? Yes. Do I wish I moved about it differently? Yes. But you know, like the past is the past. I feel as though if someone wants to base me off my past actions of who I used to talk to, rather get to know me now currently at almost fucking 30, then that's on them. Like, there's a huge difference between someone being age 20, 21, trying to be in the trans dating scene, to being almost 30. Like, I'm always not the same person. I went through a lot of shit this almost fucking 10 years. Went through all these surgeries, went through a lot of traumatic experiences. I've had friends pass away. I've lost partners. I've been abandoned. Like, I'm not the same individual I used to be. And so I feel like, as much as I laugh about being called a train chaser, a part of it's really not that funny, because I'm like, I know I'm not no malicious person by any means. In that, if anything, if I talk to a trans girl, it's not to get anything sexual. I just want to be there for them. I want to support them in whatever surgery or appointment they have. And so I just feel like I wish the amount of love I have for trans women that I received in return, the same respect I give. Because I know, like, if I'm at a club and I see, even though I'm not a tall person, I'm only 5'8", I'm not big by any means. As far
You
as
taller
height,
than me? That 1 inch makes a strong difference, y'all. Anyways.
the biggest nigga. If I see a trans woman, despite me knowing them or not knowing them, being harassed, I'm gonna hop in there. Am I putting my life on the line? Probably. But end of the day, like, I look at them as like a part of like us. I feel like trans men, we're the same community. And so when there's on one end towards another, it don't make sense, because like we already have to deal with ignorance from biologically born people. Why are we gonna hate one another when we should be there for one another? And so with that said, I'm still a T for T friendly, but I stay away to a good extent, because I just don't want anyone to tell me I'm a fucking train chaser, that I do is for sexual shit, knowing damn well that's not me. And I don't have time to explain who the real Ryan James is versus this Ryan James train chaser Facebook agenda.
And I really think that's awful that that happened to you. And it's really just in my opinion, in my perspective as an outsider looking in and stuff like that, it just doesn't even add up why anybody would even throw that at you. And using that type of language, especially even within the community, I don't know. I can definitely say I personally have encountered tranny chasers. I have. I don't think Ryan is one of them though, at all, whatsoever, 100%.
But not to mention, too, I think a very important statement to make is you can't be a train chaser if you're trans. How am I going to chase myself? How?
You're right.
I mean,
right.
I can
have a point there.
My ass, but like, ain't gonna get very far. Shit.
But yeah, no. So that kind of leads me into something else where it's just like, how do you feel, like we touched all that, how do you feel about people when they say like, oh, I only date blank? So I've encountered trans women who are like, I only date trans men, not cis men. Or I've met trans women who say, I do not date trans men and only date cis men. This kind of opens up a conversation about preference, as well as how do you look at it as people, at least to me, I try to compartmentalize it as preference. But what's your interpretation of that, of saying like you meet a woman that only, and they don't have to be a trans woman, like a cis woman that only dates trans men? How do you look at that?
like you said, like I respect preference. Like definitely, I feel like you have to
Mm-hmm.
respect express and wants and needs and so forth. Me
Mm-hmm.
personally, if I meet a girl that she's trans or not, if she
Mm-hmm.
specifies she only dates trans people, I'm not interested. I want someone that's
Mm-hmm.
interested in me for being Ryan, not for being
Got it.
trans, not for like whatever
Got
other
it.
reason.
Got it.
If if that's someone's preference, I'm not gonna shame them for it.
Mm-hmm.
Just just recently, actually, I think a month ago,
Uh,
I am with some girl on Tammy,
mm-hmm.
but her bio said like no men only. And so I questioned it and I was like,
Yeah.
bio says no men only, but like you're in my DMs. So I'm very like confused.
Yeah.
And then she was like, oh, like I just been like, I'm not into cisgender men. My
Right.
apologies. I should have written that better.
Yeah.
And so, okay, cool. So like, what do you primarily date? And
Mm-hmm.
so she continued to say that she dates like studs and trans men. And so to me,
For your
I was like, I
post.
respect your preference and whoever you
Uh-huh.
want to be with. But to me personally, if I know like you date studs
Uh-huh.
and not you date trans men too, to me, it's like you're viewing me as a stud. And
Yeah.
I didn't go through all these hormones and all these surgeries to be called a
Yeah.
fucking.
Yeah. To become, yeah, we're definitely trans men don't, well, some do, but I'm not throwing shade. I'm really not. But trans men are not studs whatsoever. We are men. We are not cis men, but we are still men. So I mean, my take on it, when I never know, like I really do change my opinion on these things sometimes. Like when I meet people that say I only date trans men, of course, like I'm gonna look in the back and like, what's your backstory with this? Like, what are we looking at? Why is it this way? What is the actual intention behind this and stuff like that? I've had
Right.
conversation with trans women where they say they just feel more safe and they feel more comfortable. And it's like, okay, I can give them that. And then
I
maybe
can
it's a bias.
like when it's like reasons like that, like they mentioned they've
Uh-huh.
had like bad experiences with cisgender men,
Yeah.
which is trans men, that's
Mm-hmm.
fine. But
Mm-hmm.
it's so that are like, oh, like I date studs and trans men. I'm like,
Why are you lumping me with them?
not even just that. Like it's not my cup of tea, and I
Yeah.
personally don't date someone that could fucking just end up dating a stud after me.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, when I lived in California, towards the end of my tenure there,
Yeah.
I was in this cisgender girl that's from Oxnard, and
Mm-hmm.
so basically she has 3 kids. I think she's 2 years older than me, so she's like what 29.
Yeah.
Um, has 3 kids. Ironically enough, I met her through an online game called IMVU.
Yeah.
Turns out we're both in California, and so we started like talking a lot. And then we put out LinkedIn, and so I was like, well, before I link up with her, I'm gonna tell her that I'm trans. And
Mm-hmm.
so at this point, like we already like liked one another.
Yeah.
That's why I felt the obligation to tell her.
Yeah.
And so what kind of rubbed me the wrong way is like her saying like, oh, like I don't know if I could be with a trans person. Like I like you, but I don't know if I could be with a trans person. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was kind of a shitty feeling because I'm like, damn, like you like everything else about me, but that one little thing is gonna ruin it. And
Mm-hmm.
so I shit you not, probably for like almost a month. I wasn't begging her, but I
Mm-hmm.
was really drawing to her head. Like I understand, like you never had a trans person before, but I feel like if you know you have feelings for me and I have feelings for you, like why don't you just give it a chance? Like
Mm-hmm.
find out down the line this isn't for you, that we can cut it off with
Mm-hmm.
no feelings. But
Yeah.
like for you to be so quick to like push me off because of the
Uh-huh.
giving me a fair chance is kind of like screwed up considering the fact that we both had mutual feelings, there's a mutual attraction, there's a mutual
Yeah.
care. And so basically, eventually she came around me being trans. She was cool with me
Mm-hmm.
being trans, whatever, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I moved out here. I was still with her, and then I ended up cutting it off because I'm like, realistically speaking, like it's gonna be hard to make a long distance relationship work when you have
Yeah.
3 kids. That would mean I would have to go out to California every single time, and between working and like obviously paying for bills, it's just gonna add up.
Yeah.
And
Well.
story short, I mentioned her into this whole little scenario because if you fast forward, since I left California, she's been dating studs. And so to me,
Mm,
I didn't want to make it about me. At the end of the day, like I want you to do what makes you happy. It's
yeah.
your life for you. But to me, it kind of was a stab in the heart because like I pretty much had to convince you, in a sense, kind of practically begging to a certain extent to give me a chance because I'm trans and
Mm,
now you're over here dating women.
yeah.
So to me, it's like you really thought my replacement was a stud just because I was a pre-op trans man when it came to the downstairs area. And
Mm,
so I stopped really talking to her for a cool while because she would reach
mm,
out and she'd be like, "Do you hate me?" And so
mm,
I told her a few months back, and I was like, "I don't hate you, but I'm gonna be
mm,
honest with you. Like, it's not the fact that you dating other people is what rubs you the wrong way. I
mm,
think it's back for almost a month. I had to like really beg you to fucking give me a chance, despite me being trans, despite me
mm,
not being ideal preference. And
yeah.
now you're here in West Hollywood making out with girls at fucking Mickey's, and you're dating studs. And like,
Mm.
I don't know. To
Yeah,
me,
it's a slap in the face. And
because I
it
feel like
looks fucked up.
brought you into this community, and now you're dating studs, and studs and
Mm.
trans different fucking spectrums.
Yeah. No, I definitely hear you. And thank you for sharing that experience. That's really, really awful. And I can definitely I can I'm trying to think about my track record right now. No, I am.
I can't say what I wanted to say about your track record.
My track record, they usually leave me for another trans person. But because
That's
um
not but a bit
oh
of
the Mayo.
the mayo.
Right now, yeah, I'm in a season of snow. But and that's not on purpose. It just, it is what it is right now. But anyways, that's neither here or there, as Ryan would say. Going back to your experience with that girl, and she came around to you, and then after the distance became an issue, and then you follow back up and checking in on her just to peep to see what she's doing. Now you're seeing she's living her best life with whole ass studs out here. Seeing that, um, did that ever make you internalize anything? Because I know you mentioned earlier about, you were pre-op at this time when you were meeting them and stuff. Did that contribute to anything as to your thoughts and wants to getting fallow?
So her whole existence in my life for that period
Mm,
of time, for now, here and there,
yeah.
didn't play any role in me wanting to get phalloplasty. But
Okay.
I will
Good.
say the fact that she pretty much went from one scenario to like a whole other scenario
Mm-hmm.
and it threw me for a loop because I'm just like, I don't know. I don't have hatred. I don't have any hard feelings,
Mm-hmm.
but it hurt my feelings because I felt like,
I
damn,
hear.
like I really had to like put you on.
Yeah.
And now, like you think that my replacement is a stud. I
Yeah.
have no issues or no hatred towards studs at all,
Yeah.
but I feel like if she dated a cisgender guy after me,
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel some type of way about it.
Okay.
But it's just the fact that like it's pretty much she compared me to a stud is how I'm feeling about it.
I no, I get you. Yeah, you're feeling like, dang. So the whole time you were next to me, you were envisioning me as like an evolutionized Super Saiyan 3 lesbian or something like
Shit, I was just a
like
haircut in her looks apparently.
right. No,
Very
it's fucked. It's definitely fucked. I've definitely had my experiences with people where they literally looked at me like I was a drag, like a Frieza version of a lesbian or something. I don't fucking know, bro, but those put you in a loop. So, I mean, going into it, we're gonna just trail off a little bit about, that dating and stuff like that, and go more into you coming into having histo and fallow. I'm kind of this didn't happen back to back, everyone. This is something that's happened with like years in
this was
between.
man from 2015 to 2020.
Yeah, so in time span of 5 years, I want to talk about your process, not the details of histo, but what led you to get histo, as well as, I believe, to my knowledge, you did not get egg preservation, correct?
No, I did not.
And what were your thoughts behind that? And how do you feel about that decision now today?
So let's rewind. I
Yeah.
had the hysterectomy back in 2015. The main reason why I got it is because I knew at some point I wanted to get phalloplasty. I
Yeah.
had interest in like finishing my transition and like moving on to the next chapter that didn't involve fucking transitioning. And so at the time, insurance didn't cover the egg removal process or the egg
Mm,
freezing. And so I was what, 2015? I was maybe
you're
20
young.
years old.
Yeah.
So like I didn't have money like that. And
I hear
so
you.
I couldn't afford to like keep my eggs in like a storage and pay for the storage. Like pretty
There's
much,
rent. You got to pay rent for your kids. Damn,
right. You
they
got
really start costing immediately when they come out. Sorry. Like,
nah, but
wow.
like
Ooh,
I didn't have the money to do it. Insurance
yeah.
wasn't covering it. So I got the hysterectomy. And yo, I'll tell you firsthand, the hysterectomy is 10 times worse than top surgery.
I remember the times when you were going through your heat waves. Not
Not
heat
necessarily
waves.
the pain wise, it's just mentally you're fucked up. It's like mentally you have to accept the
Mm,
that you no longer have these reproductive organs that are producing estrogen flowing through
yeah.
your body. Even afterwards, you'll still have some on your body, but not what you would have if they were still there.
Yeah.
Um, and so then mentally, you're like, okay, like now I can never have kids, and so you have
Mm,
to accept that. I remember, I think it was the day before surgery.
excuse me.
I wrote a letter to myself, basically talking
Hmm.
about your unattainable offspring. It pains me to know that I'll never have a child in this current life,
Hmm.
but I hope you understand my sacrifice in order to be who I was meant to be.
Mm,
I I say this with love. I hope I see you in the next life. Sincerely, Ryan James. And
mm,
so I basically sacrificed me never having kids to finish my transition, not realizing that my finishing transition was going to be such a traumatic thing in my life and that it was going to take a lot longer than I anticipated. And now I'm like stuck here for a longer period of time, just trying to fix these surgeries and ultimately just finish it and
mm,
hope to have a somewhat normal life despite all the pain and suffering and abandonment I went through these past almost 2 years.
yeah. And thank you so much for sharing that, Ryan. I really do appreciate it. Um, so as I'm picking up from all of this, you are someone who would love to have biological children of your own, correct?
I kids. I feel like this world's fucked up. That it's probably a good thing that I can't have kids in that sense.
Yeah.
It's into the world now. It's kind of like questionable.
Yeah.
But like I have a beautiful niece and I love her to death as if she was my
Yeah.
own. I spoiled the fuck out of her. She's
Yeah.
always like, Uncle Ryan, I want the new dunks. Uncle Ryan, I want the new Jordans.
I
And
see you be putting her on with the Jordans. Yeah.
course, I can't say no. That's my
Fresh
baby. I love
J's.
her. So
Fresh
like,
J's. Yeah.
yo, she be traveling. She's going to Paris. I'm like, damn, I didn't been to Paris
Wow.
before.
Seeing
You gonna
more
be
things than us.
things and your
Love
designer.
it. I
Shit.
love it. Live her best life as she should.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Just not having the means at the time, and you are still wanting to align yourself.
Cut you off. But then you're thinking
Yeah.
too, you have to pay a storage fee every single year. So we're thinking this is
Yeah.
back in 15.
five
I have
years worth.
one serious person that I would want to share a child with
Yeah.
or have carry my kid. So you're
Yeah.
thinking about to be in 2022.
Yeah.
That 7 years of me paying for a storage for these fucking eggs.
And you don't
Lord
know
knows
for how long.
how long it's gonna be in there for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that
No,
you gotta think about like, yeah, like you can freeze your eggs, but like
it's costly.
no, you have a partner that's gonna carry your eggs, or you have like what's it called, a surrogate mother to carry the eggs.
Yeah.
I don't want to say pointless to do it, but you should really
You would
think if
recommend it. Yeah.
it's gonna add up over time.
Yeah. So no, I really thank you so much for really sharing that side and aspect. I don't think a lot of people think about that when it comes to of course, naturally I can understand if you're in a relationship at the time and you do the egg
Right.
preservation and it doesn't pan out. I totally get that. But I would definitely, for everybody who's considering egg preservation, just be caution to what Ryan just disclosed, like let us know on, where it's just like be mindful of what if I don't have a child very soon within these couple of months this year. I really need to start financially planning how to be able to support my kids that I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shit,
I gotta support these, literally support these unborn children that's in a
ungrateful.
freezer and they ungrateful. They got the nerve to still die and not preserve. Can't even guarantee how many can stay preserved. So
Yo, we're going
um
L.
yeah, so no, definitely that's a really that is a dime right there, or a gem. I can't think right now. He's dropping nuggets though. I really can't think anymore. But going
Up and down.
into it, so yeah, so going into it earlier in the conversation, the beginning of the podcast, you did mention all the surgeries that you have, and you did mention the last few surgeries that you had with fallow and the stages of fallow led up to complications and things like that. And we're gonna briefly get into the complications, but I want to first open up with I went on Reddit, guys, trying to pull Ryan, actually circling back. Ryan made a video 2 days ago, I believe, a day or two ago, finally disclosing to the world how he feels about his phalloplasty results and just his process with phalloplasty. Over this YouTube, he titled it I'm very proud of the title. It's Phalloplasty Ruined My Life. Very eye-catching, really draws you in. With that being said, Ryan did attract a lot of people who are like a lot of people who are like, I don't know, pro detransition, I guess you could say, or
I don't
I
even
don't,
all of them. Just people who don't want people to transition, basically.
yeah. So he got a lot of people, transphobes or turfs, I believe that people call it.
Yep.
And he, of course, he was getting, their weird, strange comments and filtering through those random weird comments. I was trying to pull through, comments that actually benefit a conversation, that are informative, educational, and people actually gain something out of. And I didn't find a lot. It was very much like positive things like you're handsome, you're cute. And it's like, well, I can't ask a nigga shit like that. And
I'm
so
if you're not watching some video, you should.
Ryan looked good, y'all. Ryan looked good. That's my guy. That's my guy. I will always support my guys. Holla at
Uh,
him. But I went on Reddit and I was just typing in fallow bottom surgery and seeing whatever popped up. And of course, the big one is why fallow over meta. So if you wanted to tell the viewers who are listening, viewers
all
that are
right.
listening.
So this gonna be a quick little lesson for y'all for that don't
Mhm.
know the difference. Phalloplasty is you're taking skin from either your arm or your forearm, you're creating a phallus. Compared to meta, you're working with what you originally have, but you're pretty much making it more visual,
Mhm.
meaning you're pulling back the vaginal lips. So your T dick, or otherwise known as a clitoris, is more exposed. Compared to phalloplasty, you're having a whole phallus created, and that's being usually on top of your T dick or your clitoris, however you want to call it. And so for me, I picked phalloplasty because I wanted the length. I wanted the length
Mhm.
far sexually go to penetration, and I feel like
Mhm.
there's no shade, there's no like ignorance or no hard feelings towards meta, but
Mhm.
it wasn't what I wanted. Like if I wanted to penetrate, I feel as though like granted over the years, my T dick grew a good inch and a half, maybe almost two from hormones. And so like I was very content with that. I was very like,
Mhm.
oh, that shit's big. Like, I don't know, my shit's big. I got that big dick energy.
Got that
But
baby bottle pop. I'm sorry. I'm
but like,
sorry.
it still wasn't enough. Like I just
Yeah.
wanted to look in the mirror and feel complete in my body for me. It wasn't for anyone else. It was for me. I'm not gonna lie, like I really thought having Phalloplasty would make my dating life easier. It hasn't. But once again, I kind of base that off like my location. I feel as if I was on the West Coast,
Mhm.
I might have better dating luck, or if I was in like Toronto, because for whatever reason, them Toronto things love Ryan James.
You
They
be getting
love.
the Canadians?
I love the Canadians. I love them Toronto gals, them Jamaican.
Canadians, please. Please. I'm here. I'm here. I'm right over here. I
Nah,
love Canada.
you like that Snow White? It's
Stop.
beginning to look
No, I
like
wait. First, this is
Christmas.
not an anti-white anything. I want to make that
It's
clear.
not anti-white at
But
all.
no, but it's just, how can I say this? I just,
It's the melanin for me.
I like I like melanin. I do. I really do.
Why you getting
Um, because
microphone?
I'm just trying not to step
I
on
feel
any toes right now. I'm being really delicate right now. Like it's nothing personal. I
fix
like what
this.
I
We
like.
love women.
I
As long as
just
you ride me into the sunset without stopping, I love it here.
I love
Moving
me
forward,
a person of color. I don't know. I just no specific race or ethnicity in mind. I just love people of color, people who are have color.
just so women are just so beautiful. It's the lips, the eyes, the curves.
Yeah.
They be
Look at us
smelling
just like
good.
just going
Oh,
on a whole tangent about women.
oh, I love women. If you're a woman listening
Mhm.
to this, thank you for existing.
Yeah.
Keep being you, and don't forget to smile. And for
Yeah.
the fellas, wash your ass.
No, man, this Omarion variant came out, and the way that I feel like men are washing their hands less,
They're
I don't
like, oh,
know,
Mari, I want the little mama.
right? They want the mama variant. I don't know, y'all. That shit's concerning. All I'm saying is that, especially like, it really makes me think twice when I touch weights at the gym. Ryan, are you still here? Okay,
Yeah,
just
a little
making
better.
sure.
That's
No, you're
why you
good.
can wear gloves, like lifting gloves.
Yeah, yeah. But we're gonna wrap this up super fast soon. I don't know. I really don't know how long we've been going, to be honest with you.
It's been
But
years,
probably over an hour.
10 years.
Yeah, but
It's been a long day.
so I know that you ran into some complications along the way. Um, but another question that did pop up is did your interest, their sexual interest change after fallow?
Um, so after Phalloplasty,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really dating that serious. I did have a little fling recently
Yeah,
that
you
and
mentioned.
maybe well no, the California one's a different one. This fling ran from about I want to say either end of May, early June to like end of July, early August. It was a very short-lived fling, to
Yeah.
say the and that person was also trans. She was a trans woman of color. She's
Mm-hmm.
half Portuguese. Real cute girl.
Mm-hmm.
Um and so we already had a backstory. Like we talked a few years back, but I didn't really feel a connection back then.
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes you get tired of being single or tired of being alone. So you tend to circle the block.
You circle
And
back.
like I didn't really have interest 2 years ago, but she looks real good on Instagram. Let me hit her up real quick. And
See
that's what
what
I
you
did.
doing.
Started talking and so forth. The rest was a history. So far as my sexual interest goes, I've
Mm-hmm.
always been interested in women.
Yeah.
Um, I was 20 when I became interested in trans women.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know, like sometimes I find trans women attractive. Would I date one? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like even then, I feel like it comes back down to like your security with yourself and how you feel about yourself, your confidence. Like
Yeah.
I can admit anyone's attractive. And so that's kind of where I stand on that one.
Yeah. Well, I love that. Thank you for answering that. It was a quick, brief one. And my next question would definitely be, might be a little heavy, is pretty much how has your connection with yourself been, and this could be mentally, physically, since you've had fallow and have gone through complications, surgeries and stuff.
Um, I could give like two responses. I can give like a short response. I can give a long response.
I have time. It's whatever you feel comfortable
Let me
answering.
go somewhere in the middle.
Mm,
Basically, long story short, I would say phalloplasty.
mm,
Um, it created more harm than it did good. I
mm,
wouldn't say I regret it. I don't regret anything I did in my life. There's things I wish I did differently, but I don't
yeah,
regret it. Everything you do in life is a learning lesson. It's a learning curve.
yeah,
And so I feel as though I'm content with how my phallus came out,
yeah,
but I don't like how pretty much everything internally is fucked because these surgeons caused more damage than they were fixing anything.
yeah.
And so I think for me, it took me a while to accept the fact that I had a catheter for fucking 6 months. Um, and then it took me a real long time to understand that I'm fucking, at the time I was 26, being told
Mm,
you have an ostomy bag because you have a fistula between your urethra and your rectum, which is an abnormal connection that shouldn't be there, basically.
yeah.
And so being told like bad news after bad
Back to
news,
back.
and you have people coming into your life and just leaving, it really fucks with you mentally.
Yeah.
And so I feel like for a cool while, I was too ashamed of being like a malpractice victim that
Mm,
I didn't want to speak out on phalloplasty anymore. All my phalloplasty updates, my phalloplasty page, I pretty much
yeah.
archived. I didn't want to talk about it. I was very ashamed of what happened to me. And I was very
Mm,
upset that like people that went through the surgery came out fine. And then there's me going through fucking hell and back.
mm,
And on top of it, wondering why like certain people are just leaving my life without any real explanation after knowing what I've been through and they're doing
mm,
the thing to me. And so between balancing this fucking crazy ass surgery, I
yeah.
was also fix my heart that was wrongfully broken by someone that I really confided in. But
Yeah.
that shows you that like you never really know someone until the end. And I feel like
Yeah.
this person isn't a bad person, but this person should have been more honest about what they wanted rather than lead me down a road thinking that we were going to be together.
Yeah. No, I definitely hear you. And thank you for, again, I know I keep saying thank you for sharing, but seriously, I really do appreciate you, just letting in about your life. Cause like how you said, complicate surgery complications, not just with phalloplasty alone, just surgery complications with like top surgery and stuff like that. It is very, very, very common. And I think there is a lot of shame in the community to talk about it when it's something that's so necessary for so many people, because more people need to feel it needs to be normalized, because it is. And people need to be more okay to disclose these things, as well as it helps others steer them away from going to these surgeons that are pocketing money from your pockets or your insurance company and all this other stuff. It's something that really, really needs to continue to keep happening. um but with that being said, I know that you mentioned, you were kind of like, WTF, I'm getting these complications, these other guys, they're not. um how I would definitely say, before having fallow, like getting into the steps leading up to it, everyone does be mindful of complications and things like that. What did you imagine for yourself then? I'm not saying like you imagine yourself the worst, complete, like awful, awful, but what did you think
You
about the
know,
complications?
went into it thinking like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, I'm in Boston.
Yeah.
This fucking some of the best surgeons
Mm-hmm.
went to school in Boston. A lot of them are still in Boston performing surgeries.
Mm-hmm.
The guys they referred me to that had surgery turned out to be fine, or at least to my
Mm-hmm.
knowledge, fine.
Yeah.
And so, I was real excited going to Phalloplasty. I was counting down the days.
Yeah.
I was like, finally, like, my day is coming. No more fucking hair removal on my fucking arm.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking, that took fucking forever.
Yeah.
And so I was just glad. I'm like, word, like, no more electrolysis. I'm finally getting this surgery. I'm one step closer to finishing this transition and moving on to a new
Mm-hmm.
chapter,
Yeah.
or so I thought.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, and I still have more than half these surgeries to go. I'm still sitting down to pee. I'm not really sexually active because I can't get the thing up. I bought the little tool that helps you keep it up, but because I need a revision of the glandsplasty, because my glandsplasty, which pretty much is like the ring around that separates like the phallus and the tip, sort of the head. When it healed flat. It didn't stay raised. And so they had to go back in and redo that so it's more raised. Because basically, the tool I'm talking about is called the elator. And basically, it's like a little like rod that goes under the phallus. And there's like a little ring that kind of goes around it. It's very small. Supposedly that your partner can't feel it. I don't know, but supposedly they can't feel it. And so it's supposed to keep it up during penetration. But because of the flattened glandsplasty, the ring is either too loose or it's too tight where like it's like physically harming by squeezing hard. And so I tried using it on the recent fling, couldn't get the thing to be comfortable on myself. It was pretty much just me eating groceries that whole duration, but we love eating groceries.
We worked with what you had. You worked with what you had, okay? And you performed.
If my third arm don't want to, not my third arm. If my third leg don't, my mouth works.
The mouth works just fine. Just fucking fine. Okay. But okay, so I just want to close this out with, because I know we've been going for a bit. Thank you so much for joining and being supportive of my little podcast that I'm trying to make something out of. It will grow. I'm telling you, man, it will. Anyways, he's like, we'll see.
Like after the behind the scenes, debatable.
Right? We were behind the scenes for a cool minute. Yeah. Ryan is a real one for still being like, yeah, I'm gonna go on still.
How's my lighting? Oh shit.
Yeah, there was a lot of audio issues before. It was a lot, hella issues. Anyways, so to close this out, I'm gonna give you two last questions. Question number one is, what is a message that you have for all the guys out there that are considering bottom surgery or guys who did go through with bottom surgery and are also experiencing complications with the process? What do you have to say?
My message to those who haven't had phalloplasty but are interested in it, please be aware that you might end up like myself and have this complication that causes more issues, more surgeries, more time in and out of the hospital, and more pretty much obstacles. Because I feel like for me, I don't know if I want to date anyone after my last fling, because I'm in a vulnerable stage in my life where like I don't want to get close to anyone, and then I'm in for another surgery and I'm recovering just for them to fucking leave. Because out of every surgery I've had, there's been a lot of pain, don't get me wrong, but nothing hurt worse than having someone I really cared about leave me when I needed them the most. And so for guys who've had the surgery, who are struggling as well, you're not alone. My DMs are always open for those of you who need a shoulder to lean on, or for those of you who just want someone to talk to. I got y'all. My Instagram is _crispy. It's spelled like CRYSPY James. It's JVMES _. Or if you follow Marcus, you can go through his following. You'll probably find me in there. But basically, with anything in life, just think it through and then make a plan that if things go well, this is your plan. If things don't go well, this is your plan. But I have a plan for both sides, because I'll tell you right now, I never thought my life would be where it is now, where I'd be shitting in a bag, where I'd be fucking begging for someone to come back into my life, despite me feeling fucking the loneliness I felt in a cool fucking minute.
And so, yeah, thank you so much with all of that. And I want to just clear things up with all that being said, because I don't want anyone to think that this is like an anti-transition rhetoric, even though bottom surgery shouldn't correlate to someone's entire transition. I will ask you, Ryan, do you regret transitioning, period, because of something like this?
I'm a fine ass motherfucking nigga. I do not
You
regret
sure
transition.
are. Yeah.
But all jokes aside, don't mind me. I'm fucking around.
You
But
good?
I don't regret transition. I just
Mm,
kind of wish that I met better people throughout my transition. I feel like I met a lot
I
of
hear
dead
that.
that sold me a false reality that wasn't true. Whether it was partners, friends, surgeons, I feel like I've been lied to a good amount of my fucking transition. I don't regret anything I've done. I feel like I made the most of what I was given. And despite me having a botched phalloplasty, I still get out of bed. I still go to work. I still smile. I still laugh. And I'm still able to love those who love me. And that's what it comes down to. Like, despite this causing a lot of shit in my life, I'm not letting it take my life.
Period. And I'm so happy to have you here. I'm beyond happy to call you my brother.
Oh,
Ryan was literally my first trans friend ever. So he has a big,
first trans
yeah,
friend.
and he's my first like actual like straight guy friend too. So you have a really, really special place in my heart.
You do
If
too.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Or it could be, sure.
It's probably your gas. It's probably the bag. Nah,
It's
but nah, so I'm gonna pretty much close it out with thank you guys so much for listening. And again, Ryan dropped his Instagram, and I'm gonna put the link to his Instagram as well as the link to his YouTube video that is titled Phalloplasty Ruined My Life down in the bio. I hope you guys continue to subscribe and follow us both. Thank you guys so much. Tune in. I want to say next week, but I can't promise you nothing. Have a Merry Christmas, joyous Kwanzaa. And you
happy
guys,
holidays, y'all. Thank you for tuning in and stay blessed.
thank you. Bye, y'all.